One of the things that we've been talking about, Ester's sort of on fire about it because it's helping her so much, is we've been making a very blunt statement that whenever you have negative emotion, it means every time that your attention and attitude and perspective or opinion, all those words meaning the same thing in this context, varies somewhat from your inner being's perspective in the same moment. So what are we saying? Your inner being is focused with you in this same moment every time. And you can tell by the way you feel how resonant your opinion is with the opinion of your inner being in the moment. So it's blunt and maybe a little rude, but accurate for us to say, every time you feel negative emotion, you're telling a lie. Now, we don't mean a lie like it didn't happen. We mean something much more important, emotional guidance wise. We mean that you're holding to something that your inner being is not holding to. You've got an opinion that your inner being doesn't agree with. So if every time you feel negative emotion, you can stop and say, okay, I saw that happen. My inner being saw that happen. Is there any divergence between me and my inner being? No. But as you keep playing with it, I've got negative emotion, so they know there is some divergence. If you keep playing with it, and we'll demonstrate this as we move forward today, you will begin to notice that whenever you assign motive to something, here's a better way of saying it. Whenever you are pushing against something, that's when you and your inner being part ways, not completely, but for a moment. In other words, you introduce resistance into your equation. We're coming around to the reason that this conversation is so important. You're really going to like this. It's something that we have not talked about in this very specific way before. You may have heard us say, we say it a lot, that almost everyone, all humans, offer most of their vibration in response to what they are observing. So a whole lot of what makes up the content of your human nowness is things that you're observing. But there's a whole lot that you're observing in your human nowness that you have an opinion about, that your inner being feels differently about. This is the most important thing that we're ever going to say to you. If you're focused upon this object of attention and you feel negative emotion, it means your inner being moved on, but you didn't. That's what causes that tug of war. In other words, this is just a conversation. We know it's out there on the leading edge. This is a conversation that helps you to understand even more clearly what we mean when we say most people offer most of their vibration in response to what they're observing. And that's why most people's lives don't change as fast as they want them to. They want it, but they keep observing what is. They want it, but they keep observing what is. And that's why all of that stuff, conditions, circumstances, everything that you're observing is a vibration that's being offered that you are choosing, and then it equals your point of attraction and holds you in a point of attraction that is maybe no longer what you want. None of you really want to go back in time. You think you do. But this is where it's at, this vibrational reality that is calling you. Think about it. So you were non-physical before you came into this physical body, and here you are, splat, you came into this physical body, and you know what you don't want, and you know what you do want, and you launch these rockets of desires, which you launch into your vibrational reality, where your inner being stands, that part of you that existed before you were in this physical body, that part of you that still exists in the non-physical, non-resistant realm, even though you are in this physical body right here and now. So you have this automatic awareness, this guidance system of what was then and what is now. Humans are mixed up. You think what is now is what you can see and hear and smell and taste and touch. Your inner being knows what is now is what you put into the vortex and what the law of attraction has done with that and the cooperative components that have been gathered. You have no human idea most of the time how magnificently you have created and amassed, because you're looking at stuff. You're observing what is instead of following the flow. And then there's a lot of defending the stuff that you're looking at. Nothing wrong with that. It's just not what a leading edge creator like you is wanting to do with your focus. That's why that question was so important. And that's why that yearbook, lovely as it is, it wasn't even the now you were focused upon. It was just a now representative of the then that is really keeping you from who you really are and what you really want. Good conversation. Enough?
Thank you.
Enough? If you stayed even close to up to speed with that, then you're ready for this day. Right here.
We've got a company, and we've raised money a couple times from investors, and the energy with which we raised that money was pure vision and excitement and fun and just being in the creativity of it and the vision of it. And
so you're telling us that there was no lower half of the emotional scale?
oh, there probably was. It just felt like the majority of our time was spent in the vision of the big future and why it's going to be valuable. And
we can hear you getting to a but. What is it?
But I guess as the business went from an idea to a reality, and as we had tasks and things that we could do.
Well, when you were raising the money, that was part of the reality too.
Definitely. And so I guess I'm just wondering if you have any suggestions for other ways of getting into alignment when there's that the business is running and there's lots of things to do, but maintaining that connection. And recently
you've asked the question about life.
Yeah.
How do I stay connected when there are circumstances that are trending as a result of how I've been trending that are not pleasing me? How do I stand in a place of seeing something that's different than what I want and stay focused upon what I do want? That's the story that we've just been giving you about the projectors aren't here, and Esther couldn't get her mind off the fact that the projectors weren't here. They weren't going to be on time. They weren't going to be on time, and then they said they'd ship them to a future hotel. Well, you know what that did to Esther. Oh yeah, that's going to happen with ease. We're a moving target. We're a moving target. And your timeliness is not your best attribute. And so, are you going to ship them to a hotel just as we zoom away? You get what we're talking about. Esther is rational and reasonable and right about hotels operate. That's how they operate. She and Jerry used to come to the hotel having sent a whole pile of stuff, and the person at the front desk would say, no, you don't have any packages. And Esther would say, yeah, they're there. No, they're not there. So they started tracking them, and then Esther would show up at the front desk with tracking numbers and the person who had signed for them. And then they were often more inspired to go find the packages. So Esther has an attitude based upon past experience that is valid, that says people at hotels do not care about your packages. So when Mark says that this already delinquent projector sending company has another plan that dovetails with another thing that never works out, her determination to be right, we're making her look a little different than she really is in this. In other words, isn't it logical that your life experience, we were talking about that earlier, your life experience causes you to come to conclusions, decisions that you pass on sometimes from generation to generation that have nothing to do with what you want or what you have evolved to in your vortex, but your worldwide sort of determination to be right about something, to face the facts, to face reality, prevent you from feeling what's coming rather than what is. And that's what you're talking about. How do I not notice what is? And the reason I notice what is because I've lived it before. How do I change my reality? Well, it starts by throwing your yearbook away.
I've just been spending a lot of time like going for long drives and walks, get in purely the receiving mode and doing less work.
So are you saying to us that you know that you have a vortex version?
Yeah.
And that you know that your inner being's all over it. And that the most powerful part, the most powerful piece, The most powerful component of your creation is the part that's in the vortex that your inner being is tending, and all of the summoning of cooperative components. So are you saying to us that you got it going on?
Yeah.
And now if you could explain yourself and Esther, why would either one of you hold doggedly to a little piece of your reality that isn't pleasing you right this minute? Because you've trained yourself to believe that what is everything. And it's not. It's just the bouncing off part. What is isn't where it's at. What's becoming is where it's at. And so who cares where it's been? Every bit of that up and down and that feeling good and that not feeling good, all has caused you to fine tune and to ask with more clarity and to create a business that's more pleasing to you from more directions and more aspects. It's better now than it's ever been, and it's in the process of flowing into your experience. And you're right. Your answer was exactly right. I'm just doing my best to chill and enjoy, but we want to add to that the powerful word expect. And that's what all of these conversations are about. When you know the laws of the universe, law of attraction, no assertion, that's basically it. It's simple. And you know that you're an extension of source energy, and that source energy is always conspiring for you. And you know that all of the cooperative components are being gathered, whether you can see them yet or not. In other words, whether your eyes can see them or your ears can hear them. In other words, they exist in that vibrational reality. They exist. When you know that they exist. Why? Because Abraham said so? Oh, I want to believe it. I want to believe it. Abraham seems so sure about it.
Well, I know they exist because they happened before, and because every time I'm in the vortex,
there's
I hear
evidence of it all the time. And so I'm showing myself in real life, and I'm making the correlation between how I felt when that came and how I felt when that didn't come. And I'm aware of when I'm on the upper half of the scale and the lower half of the scale. And even best of all, I know what to do about it. And I'm catching myself when I'm dug in on something and it really starts to show separation because my negative emotion gets stronger. And I'm noticing that every time it's because I'm assigning motive and pushing against someone. Might be me, might be someone else, instead of trusting my own worthiness and my own ability to receive.
So you're saying if it feels better to do a calibration, do it. If it feels better to ignore it, do it. But it doesn't matter what the process is, just try and just path of least resistance around the issue. That feels easier.
Perfect words.
So what I really want to do is amp up, double up
For years we've been talking about how when you're in one of those modes of appreciation and having such a good time and just milking it, not to make it more, milking it because it feels so good to focus on it.
Yes.
That's what we mean by doubling up.
Yes, beautiful.
Doubling down is what we mean by feeling negative emotion and being determined to justify it by the fact-based reality of your past and present experience. And in doing so, depriving yourself of any right now manifestation of what you really do want because you're so fixated on what you don't want. And determined to be right rather than feel good. So doubling up is all about feeling good. Doubling down is all about being right.
So how can I double up more on my belief and my expectation of what I'm visualizing and wanting to manifest?
Well, you see, it's already gone a little wonky because now you're using the methodology to get something that you want that isn't, and it's already out of whack. The doubling up is catching yourself in a moment of alignment and staying there as long as you can. This is the big difference, and everybody has some of this. I'll do this stuff in order to get what I want, and when I get what I want, I'll feel better. Or I'll do this stuff to get what I want because when I get what I want, I feel better. Oh, I think I'll leave all of that unnecessary stuff out and just feel better, and then I'll get what I want. But if you've got this motive that, oh yeah, all right, I'll feel good if you insist, if it'll get me what I want. Feeling good is what you want. Feeling good is what you want. It's only what you want. Really
Thank
good.
you so much.
Yeah.
It was so good.